Hey guys, what's up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rides. I'm back here at my home spot filming location because guess what? We have one of the most iconic Japanese cars ever built. It's this vehicle right here. This is it. This is a 2023 Nissan GTR. This particular one is a premium spec trim, and of course in the optional color known as Bayside Blue. But before we get into this all-wheel drive twin turbocharged beast of a vehicle, let's talk about what's going on here. The industry is changing. There's a lot of different things happening with electrification, performance hybrids, and everything in between. But one thing that's fascinating is this GTR, the R35, that came out all the way back in 2009, really hasn't had many changes. Now you might say to yourself, well, Joe, the GTR is dated. The GTR doesn't have new technology. But my question to you is that really a bad thing? Now, when we look at all-wheel drive performance vehicles, there's a few out there. And of course, a few that fall in many different price brackets. One vehicle that I think lines up perfectly all-wheel drive-wise and price point-wise is gonna be that brand new 2024 Corvette C8 E-Ray. So let's go ahead, let's dive into Godzilla and see, is it the better performance car over a C8 E-Ray? Let's go ahead, let's dive in and find out. Right off the bat, the size. You look at the vehicle, and even when I first saw this in person many years ago, the sheer size of it kind of makes you think that it can't perform. But that's where you're going to be fooled. Now, at the front of the business, on the 2023 model year, this is the front end that you get. So you're going to get a very similar headlight design that goes back all the way to 2009. You'll see our triple LED projector beam headlights. Of course, we have LED daytime running lamps. And down below, we have more LED lighting. The big zonk that I don't like about this particular style are these massive waffle iron fake corner vents. Why in the heck are we putting something fake on the front of Godzilla? Godzilla would never have anything fake. So that is definitely a zonk. Here's the good news. When we go to feature and do our first drive of a 2024 GTR, with the refresh, they got rid of it. So that's the good news. Bayside Blue, if you like this color, this is the color that goes back to the R34 days, the iconic R34. This is a $1,000 option. Just wanted to let you know, but boy, oh boy, does it look fantastic. You are gonna have some gloss black extensions on the corners of the front fascia. Obviously, everything is for aerodynamic efficiency, and these produce real downforce. Now, as we come across that V-Motion grille, this is another thing that for 2024 they really changed, but I do like this aluminum portion that they have up top on the 2023. You have the mighty GTR badge, goes all the way back to 1970. That was the original GTR. Remember, Skyline GTR. This was the first GTR. It is not based on the Skyline chassis. So something very interesting with the R35, you do have this large section of gloss black. On the new refresh, this is now all gone. They kind of took some of the style of the R34 and blended it in with the R35. But one of the things I like is you have functionality in the center, but if you notice, we have functionality on the corners, and then dropping our way down, ginormous opening in the lower grille. We have our intercoolers, and you have your brake cooling ducts. And those are big enough to take a Florida grapefruit. I could pluck it right from a grapefruit tree and just throw it in there and it'll fit perfectly. On this particular one, you'll notice that massive lower splitter lip, everything integrated. If you're comparing this to a C8 E-Ray, I guess the one thing about the C8 E-Ray is that it looks identical to the Z06 with that wider body, that 3-inch wider body. That may be a good thing, it may be a bad thing. When you compare it to what you see on the road, let me know in the comment section if you like the look of the E-Ray more than the look of the front of this GTR. Now, as we rise up, one of my things that I always love to point out is you get a double bulge, baby. 2 bulges with functional NACA ducts. Now, NACA ducts, the reason why they're called NACA ducts, that used to be the organization before NASA. So we all know NASA when it comes to spacecraft. NACA, which is what the organization used to be called, was all about aero, planes, jets, rockets, all that good stuff. What they discovered with these ducts is that you could flow a ton of air into the opening and not produce a lot of drag. So that's why we have them on the hood of the GTR. And just something that on this R35, I can now say, this is a classic look of the R35. Now, if you notice on the fenders, love the way you still have that nice flared front fender. Really gives it such a strong, muscular look. And as we come around the bend, here's where things get really good. Ooh la la. What do we have? 20-inch raised forged wheels. Forged aluminum. Love the dark finish that they put on them with the gloss black. You do have those copper colored 6-piston Brembo calipers with the Nissan script, and we have 15-inch rotors all 4 corners. A lot of vehicles have smaller rotors out back compared to what's up front. This, we have 4 rotors, 15 inches in diameter. Technically, the front rotors are 15.3 inches. That's as big as a serving tray for a freaking Thanksgiving Day turkey. That's how large those are. They're 2-piece, which means that's gonna cut down on heat buildup and less rotating mass. Same thing with the forged aluminum wheels. They're lighter than cast, which is gonna give you quicker steering because it's less rotating mass. Now up front, tires are 255 on the width, 40 series sidewall, and of course we have our suspension that's been fine-tuned straight from Japan for this Godzilla. Now, just to give you a quick history lesson, the reason why they call this car Godzilla is not because of the Japanese calling it Godzilla. It's when back in the R32 days, which remember the R32 came out back in 1989, racing in Australia was so dominant on the racetrack, the Australians called the car Godzilla, and the name sticks. Now coming down the side, I love, and I'm gonna have Steven kind of swing around, the way they color matched the functional fender vent with that aluminum style and the GTR badge to flow that hot air out. We do have a gloss black side skirt extension. And if you're wondering why do they taper it in, it's so that when you get out, you don't kick it. Sort of like what they do on the Corvettes. They did it on the C7, they do it on the C8. Makes sense from a daily use perspective. You do have your blacked out A-pillar, which really gives the car a unique look. And I'll show you why in a second. Bayside blue poured all over our side mirrors. And then talking about the A-pillar, it really gives the roof such a cool perspective on it. The way it angles back and the way that if Steven could come back around, you get that, he's actually gonna come this way, you actually get that flared out rear fender. Of course, we have flush mounted door handles, and the way they open is you push here and then you pull and then the door will open. But I love that flared fender look. What are we looking out back? Like I said, 15-inch rotors out back. And if you're wondering, well, what's the size of these tires? They're actually wider than up front. They're 285s. So you have more rubber to meet the road. Now remember, this is all-wheel drive, but it's rear-wheel drive based. So the way it works, it's very unique, and it's actually the first vehicle ever to have a transaxle, a rear transaxle, and it's all-wheel drive. So you have a drive shaft that sends power to the rear wheels, and then you have a smaller drive shaft that goes from the rear to the front differential to send power to the front wheels. Very unique setup, and I'm telling you, wait until we hit the twisty bits. This thing is gonna surprise you how it handles. Now, as we swing it around wide, this is that iconic look. I absolutely love it. I wanna take this car and I wanna wash it and wax it because I just wanna rub my hands all over it. Look at the attention to detail, how it goes over the taillight into that squared off rear fender area of the bumper. You do have the iconic quad taillights all the way across with the GTR badge, just like up front. And you can see the width. Like I said, the sheer size of this vehicle, it's quite impressive how it could perform. Massive rear wing. Love the way it's got the nice kick up, and I'm glad that it's color matched. So many wings on cars are just gloss black. I like the Bayside blue everywhere. And then working our way down, we do have titanium exhausts. Love the way that they finished off the tips. We do have functionality all the way around. And then in the center diffuser area, they give you a little bit of carbon fiber on this rear diffuser to help drag this car to the ground as air is traveling underneath. But like I said, I just absolutely love the rear end of this car. But why don't we go ahead, let's pop the hood and see the power plant, the heart of Godzilla. All right, guys, we got the hood open. You do have a prop rod. I am gonna zonk that. On this type of car, we should just have hood struts. But out of all the modern engines built today in model year 2024, this has got to be still one of the sexiest engines you'll ever see. Feast your eyes on this. This is the heart of Godzilla. 3.8 liter twin turbo V6. Look at the individual intake runners. I like the way they bring a little bit of red. Really fantastic. It's got the plate hand built right from Japan. You got your twin throttle bodies, twin air boxes. But what are we actually looking at when it comes to performance? Before I let you know, check out the carbon fiber strut top brace. And you can see our adaptive suspension with the wires going to our suspension. Nice to see the carbon fiber underneath there. What do we got though? What do we have performance-wise? Like I said, it's a 3.8 liter twin turbocharged V6. You're looking at 565 horsepower, 467 pound-feet of torque. It's mated to a 6-speed DCT, dual clutch transmission, one of the first in the industry. 0 to 60 in this thing, 2.8 seconds, quarter mile, 11.2 seconds, top speed, 200 miles per hour. MPGs, 16 in the city, 22 on the highway, and the vehicle weighs 3,865 pounds. Now, what's fascinating is that if we compare this to the E-Ray, the E-Ray actually weighs a little bit more than this car. If you could believe that, it weighs a little over 4,000 pounds. The E-Ray does have 655 horsepower, and that's from a 6.2 liter naturally aspirated V8 and that small electric motor. If you're comparing 0 to 60, the E-Ray is gonna have the faster 0 to 60 at 2.5 seconds. But remember, there's more to performance and more to performance driving than just 0 to 60. But why don't we go ahead, let's fire up Godzilla and hear what he sounds like. All right, guys, we are inside this Nissan GTR. This is a premium spec. Remember, there's two other ways you can go option-wise. You could go T-spec, which gives you things like carbon ceramic brake rotors, or you could just go all in and go GTR Nismo. Now, if you're wondering, you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, ever since I was younger, I wanted a GTR. I do like the C8 E-Ray, though, especially with the all-wheel drive, and I do like having a mid-engine performance car. But how much is this GTR? Very good question. This being a premium with the optional Bayside blue color, that's a $1,000 color option, you're looking at an MSRP right at $123,000. Very close to what an E-Ray is going to cost you. Starting price for a coupe E-Ray is $107,000, and then of course you got to tack the options on to go from 1LZ to 2LZ to 3LZ. But let's see what you get when you go R35 GTR to the door panels. I do like the amount of leather. Black leather everywhere, all over the door panel. I wish that they would have done some contrast blue stitching. I think that would have been a nice addition. So I am going to zonk that there's no contrast stitching. You even have leather on the door handle pull. And then down below, you got old school carpet and a cargo net there. The cargo net, I actually am not going to zonk because it helps with the flexibility of that cargo pocket. You could easily put 4 Big Macs in there, and you'll notice we have the Bose premium sound system, 13 speaker premium sound system. Now going from the door panel to the dash, I like the way they sculpted the AC vents. The leather all over the place is nice. You'll notice none of the stitching is crooked. That's something that if you look on a C8, whether it's an E-Ray, a Stingray, or a Z06, a lot of times the stitching gets all wonky. Here it's all nice and straight, and it's been hand stitched even on the lower panels here as well. Now going from the dash to the center stack, you got your Bose center speaker up top with more stitching. This is where it gets a little wonky. Old school infotainment system. I don't like the way it looked. I actually like the older one from the 2009 R35 because it had carbon fiber surround around the screen. This has that 8-inch screen. The great news is you still have all of your different gauges. Straight from the guy that did Gran Turismo for the PlayStation, he developed all these gauges for this GTR, and you could actually change what gauges show, the arrangement. You do have a CD player, so you could easily get your Metallica, you could get your Megadeth, maybe if you're into different stuff, maybe you get some Pearl Jam, whatever you want. Pink Floyd, you got your CD player there, and you do have more stitching. Now, as we work our way down, you do have digital controls here, digital screen for your dual climate controls. And then I like the way they have these switches where you just go in full R mode for everything. Traction control, suspension, and the power management system. Just go into R. This is going to control your 6-speed dual clutch transmission. And I'm going to move it out of the way because you can see our bright red start stop button. Love the way it has this dark aluminum finish. And I even love more the real carbon fiber just poured all over the center console. You do have a mechanical e-brake, all leather, direct drive control knob if you don't want to touch the screen. Slide this door open, 2 cup holders, but there's no way in hell you're drinking in my GTR. Leather on the center armrest here, and then you lift it up. You got some felt lining so that you can put the family jewels in here. Because trust me, you're going to want to hold on to your family jewels when this thing accelerates because it is a beast. 2 USB A's and an aux jack and a 12 volt. And then the seats, full leather. This is real hand stitching all the way around. Bolstering is great. It's electric assist for the passenger, electric assist for the driver. 2 stages of heated seats, but the big zonk is no ventilated seats. I love the amount of room you have in here. And one thing that this has, the E-Ray doesn't, and I'm gonna have Steven show you, is that you actually have rear seats. Not the largest, but not the smallest either. And that really helps with making this a little bit more flexible. One of those things that the great thing about being a car enthusiast is to share it with others. And maybe you have a couple kids. You can't put kids in the back of an E-Ray, but you could squeeze them back there. And trust me, it'll be worth the juice will be worth the squeeze when you show them how hard this thing hits off the line. But why don't you get your butt over here? I want to show you behind the wheel of this GTR. All right, guys, business time behind the wheel of this GTR. You'll notice that we have a little bit of aluminum on the sill with the GTR badge. Pedal box is right out of a freaking Nissan race car. Nice dead pedal, aluminum brake pedal and throttle. We got the GTR badge on the floor mats. That's worth an extra 5 horsepower. There's our 2 stages of heated seats. No ventilated seats. And then it's interesting because you just have 1 control knob, but it's kind of cool because it does everything and it does it very well. You could actually raise the bottom, you could lower the bottom, all with 1 knob. I'm 6 feet tall and I don't want to get out of here. That's how good it feels in this car. Seats have a good amount of bolstering, but it's still going to be very daily driver friendly if you're going to daily drive this thing. And then the steering wheel, the leather all the way around. Love the way they put stitching on the horn button with the GTR badge there staring at you. Flat black on the switch gear. You do have paddles. The big zonk is they're plastic. On the E-Ray, you get metal. So I wish they would have gave me some titanium, some platinum, some type of metal paddle there. And then, of course, you have that dash setup that's all carbon fiber, man. That, to me, is worth the price of admission. I don't need a full digital display. I don't give a damn. Old school feel with the graphics that you see there, but it's got your coolant gauge, speedometer, and the tach, and of course a gear indicator in the upper right hand corner. No head-up display. I kind of wish that there was one. It's interesting though, because this is almost like riding in a DeLorean. Not so much that it's like a DeLorean, it's just I feel like I'm going back in time, just like Doc's DeLorean did. But why don't we go? All right, guys, we are inside Godzilla, the Nissan GTR. Of course, I have everything to R mode, manual shift with the paddles. I do not want the DCT to shift for me. I want to be in control, and we are going to go on throttle here. Are you ready? Because I'm definitely ready. On throttle, here we go. Ah! Nice. To 7,000 RPM on those massive brakes. Yeah! Wow! Look at this. Look at this. Golly! So let's talk about what's going on here. What I love about the car is that it doesn't feel as heavy as you think it should. It really feels light on its feet. So much grip, I feel like I could rip the surface of the road right off. And the fact that I still can get that action from the rear end that I want, when I'm squaring off a corner, just have the rear end come out a little bit to square off the corner and give me a better trajectory out of the corner for the next turn, I think works so well with this GTR. Visibility out the front is awesome. The seats actually do a pretty good job of holding you into place, which is nice. All right, guys, I want to show you more of this magnificent beast known as the GTR. Drop it down into second gear. First gear, are you ready? On throttle, here we go. The thrust. Look at this. God. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Here we go. Yeah! The grip, the balance, the feedback. Woo! I tell you, it's like being in a freaking time warp. It's like on the Millennium freaking Falcon just going into warp speed, man. It's like everything just blurs and you're just so focused on hitting your marks. And yet everything else in here feels good. Yes, we don't have the greatest, latest technology, but I don't give a damn. This is the GTR. For me, I want to give you the most on-throttle, twisty bit experience that I can. I love the way the gear indicator is nice and large, tach smack dab in the center. Using the paddles, I'm able to go up and down the 6-speed DCT with just such needle point accuracy. I freaking love it. And then the gauges, taken right from the man who developed Gran Turismo, and they're in this car. Are you ready? First gear. On throttle, here we go. God. Feedback to the wheel is great. I can feel exactly how much grip I have. God, just fires off those shifts. Woo! God, you just, once skin came out just a little bit there. It's okay, it's okay. I tell you, it's a good thing that the speedometer is over to the left, because you don't even want to know just how fast this thing is accelerating. It is so impressive. Seeing the bulges in the hood for those NACA ducts, and just knowing that you're in a vehicle that people dream about as kids. That's the special thing in this. And yes, like I said, interior does have a very dated feel, but it's a cool, like, old school feel. It's like being able to buy a brand new one, have it be yours, full warranty, but yet it's got the older feeling. Instead of trying to go find a pre-owned one, it might be ragged on, it might be modified. This one is yours, and you get it from birth. And the fact that they still build them in Japan, just like they've been doing for decades, is just part of that extra special factor that a car enthusiast drools over. This is a car enthusiast car. Are there faster cars? Yeah, the E-Ray in a straight line is faster. I would love to see how it handles. I really feel like this car, the way it communicates through the four corners of the vehicle and through the steering wheel, actually communicates better than the E-Ray. That's just what I'm feeling right now. And the level of grip is just, it's just stupid. It's just stupid how much grip you have with this car. And then the history, the lineage. So much history with the GTR name. But the seats are good. They're actually holding me in quite well. I was actually thinking I was gonna slide around a little bit. They're actually holding me in quite well. Visibility at the back is fine. But I mean, it just feels special. It's just a special car. I love all the whirly twirly sounds, all the mechanical sounds going on. Are you ready? This is second gear. On throw, here we go. Look at this, look at this. Look at this. Decreasing radius, baby. Tough corner. Wow, 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 wow. Wow, 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 here we go. Love the pops, the bangs. It just creates a really unique experience in the cabin. On the outside, not very loud. Let's be honest, and that's with the titanium exhaust. But on the inside, it really sounds good in here. And I know some of it's simulated, but they did a good job not making it sound too over the top. And let's be honest, Z06, E-Ray, there's sounds pumped through the speakers through those vehicles as well. So we're just pointing that out. Keep it even, Stevens. I think Steven likes that. But anyways, we got one more, and then we gotta wrap it up. All right, guys, one more time for you, definitely one more time for me. You ready? On throw, here we go, yeah! Brakes feeling good. Love the way the tack is right there, smack dab in the center. Love this little set here. Here we go. This is one bad mamma jamma. It just feels, I'm feeling just more aggressive with the way it builds power and everything compared to the E-Ray. The E-Ray has a little bit smoother feel to it, especially with the electric motors. This is more like ferocious. And the fact that it's able to send power from the rear to the front so effectively, it's an amazing experience. It's a unique experience, and I think one that we just can't say, oh, it's dated, the hell with it. It's quite special. But we need to get back. Trust me, we need to get back to where this all started and wrap this one up. So I will see you in a second. All right, guys, it's been a crazy day in so many freaking ways. Definitely want to thank Josh and the rest of the Nissan team for getting us access to this Bayside Blue Nissan GTR. Let me know what you think. Do you like the old school feel, the old school touches of Godzilla, or do you prefer the newer tech and style of the C8 E-Ray? Let me know which way you're going to be going in that comment section. But if you're new to the channel, you're on your way out, hit the subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Radies Rise family. Of course, we need to give it up to Stephen Flood. He's been living up to his name. Every time I freaking film with him, it winds up raining. So I'm thinking about maybe getting a new camera person. We'll see. But Stephen, thank you for all your hard work. And hopefully I'll see you next time soon. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.